guys, this is Tarot with Kittens, Weights, and Tarot, and today I'm jumping in with my Witchy Q A. Woo! Last week I gave out the call and I said, hey, if you have any witchy questions for me, I'd be more than happy to answer them in a Q&A. So here I am with that video, and I am in the bedroom because this is where my laptop is and I want to be able to look at everybody's questions so I can answer them for you here. So I have a lot of things here kind of below camera that kind of go with people's questions so you can kind of get a visual of what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. The first question comes to us from Alexandra Lansing, and she says, I have a few, how do you personally define witch and witchcraft? So she has a few questions, but we'll go ahead and look at that one first. So how do I personally define witch and witchcraft? Of course, we could always look it up in the dictionary, but everybody kind of may have their own little view of what witch or witchcraft means to them. So for me personally, the word witch is one that utilizes their environment. So that could be, you know, anything from nature to what's readily available in local stores. So it's all of the environment. For me, it doesn't always mean just nature. Like I can only work with stuff that I go out and find when I'm hiking. Although many of the things I do use are from like where I live, because we have an abundance of plants and things like that, mostly sage. Like this whole area is sage, like we're covered in sage, like sage is overabundant here which is kind of cool, you know, so I'm never really gonna have like, you know, a depletion of sage. But you know, for me, witch is just, you know, I utilize the you know, signs around me, from what I see in the sky to what I see on the ground, messages that pop up on the television or in a book that I'm reading. You know, I'm constantly utilizing the whole environment, things that I have, people that are around me, the physical environment, things that are in stores. I utilize everything so that I can, you know, help manifest that which I want to see in my life. For witchcraft, or witchcrafting is the ability, in my opinion, to take those elements, those things that are around me, and put them together almost as if I was, you know, I don't know, like making a cake or something like that, you know, like a recipe. I put everything together in order to create a certain outcome, whether I am just trying to heal myself, like, you know, I have a cold and I'm literally trying to heal my body, or I'm trying to manifest, you know, something that I can't quite afford yet, you know, something, maybe I want to fix something on the house and I want to manifest opportunities that will allow me to make the money that's needed to fix that thing on the house. So it's, you know, witch, utilizing the environment around me, that's everything within my own environment. And then crafting, putting everything together as if I'm baking a cake. I'm baking a magical witchy cake, I suppose, and utilizing it to either aid my health or to manifest something, help somebody else's health, you know, to ward something away, you know. Yeah, so to me, that's what witch and witchcraft is. So she had a few other questions. It says, what is your path and how did you get started on it? Well, that's kind of a lengthy question, so I will have to condense it. I did do a video where I did talk about my path thus far, but I think even since that video, like there's more that should be added into it. So I don't know, I would say I've kind of always been on the path since I was a kid, although I didn't know it was a path. It was just like something I did, you know. I kind of I had a very I am grateful for my upbringing, because, you know, although I have my parents who had, you know, very staunch points of view on certain things, it's their moms and dads and their brothers and sisters, so my aunts and uncles, my grandparents, and friends and things like that were the ones that kind of had me keep an open mind about the world around me and what was possible. You know, I have like my Nana, which is my dad's mother, who is always very open about seeing spirits and talking to spirits and what to do when you have spirits that annoy you, or how to utilize spirits. She would tell me about my grandfather, my dad's father, who I never unfortunately never had the chance to meet, but she would tell me how when he came from the Philippines, he had all the teachings for being a healer. The translation in from Tagalog to English is witch doctor, but they weren't like it wasn't like those people that are like pulling chicken guts out of you. It's more like they utilize their environment around them to create medicines and you know, healing spells for the people of their village. And you know, that was kind of passed down to my grandfather. My grandfather tried to pass it down to my father, but he was not really, he was kind of resistant to that. And my Nana was more like, you know, maybe that'll be something that you will carry on, you know, just kind of use what's in the kitchen. Basically, for her, it was always use what's in the kitchen, you know, to heal yourself. She was all about healing. And you know, my mother's mother, you know, was very Catholic and everything like that. They were super Catholic, but it was also like, oh, but like, you know, your great grandmother, she did palm reading, and and I kind of know the future sometimes. You know, it was like kind of like weird stuff like that. You know, my father had more of like a Buddhist type outlook, so you know, I kind of had a lot of Buddhism in there. You know, had my mom's like Catholicism later on, which came to like a born again Christian kind of thing. That wasn't until I was like older. So I don't know. I have a lot of influences. I have the influence of an uncle who, you know, taught me about Pele, and you know, he was Hawaiian. So you know, I have, you know, all of this, and you know, and so I had a very magical way of looking at the world. And although you know, I feared a lot of things that I could do as far as like clairvoyance and claircognizance and all of that, seeing spirits, I was more open to it, I would say. Probably about 5 or 6 years ago, although I've always been open to it, I kind of just like opened the floodgates, and I was like, okay, I was like, let's get serious about what I do, and like, let's really be cognizant about the things that I do. So I would say, yeah, I have a very eclectic path. I don't really know what name you want to call it, other than I don't know, I just would consider myself a spiritualist. You know, I am open to a lot of points of view, interpretations, and I'm constantly, you know, reevaluating my own beliefs, you know, because I think sometimes we get stagnant in our own beliefs. It hinders the learning process. So I tend to be a lot more open. So I guess, I don't know, that's like my my path in a nutshell. I guess I'm just I kind of have always done my own thing. I'm kind of open to everything, and I have I've been raised on a lot. There's a lot back there. I could probably go on and have like a whole series. Okay, let's see. Do I have any favorite spells or rituals? P.S. I love your cat, Loki. Well, the Lokester is, I think he's sleeping in a box somewhere right now. And I know you could probably see Wally. He's asleep on the bed. Okay, favorite spells. I did bring a little something. First of all, my grimoire is this fabulous purple leather-bound like notebook, and so all of my actual spells that I do, there are some serious spells. It's rare that I get down and do like a serious spell, but all of those are in here. Okay, so but just as like you know, spells that don't require a lot, and you know, and I do them quite often. There's one that I love to do, and I do this like probably once or twice a month, is I make a little like dream sachet or a dream pillow. So depending on what it is that I would like help on, like I'm trying to manifest something, or I'm trying to receive guidance in a dream, or I would like inspiration for something, I use different types of herbs depending on what I want. And I have those herbs in here as I do right now. And there's a coin in here that is, it specifically, it came from the Witch's Moon box, but it specifically says something about allowing my dreams to help my manifestations, or to help me receive guidance and things like that. So sometimes I'll put a little crystal in here, but yeah, my favorite thing to do, like, which happens, you know, it's a little more frequently, is to make these little dream sachets or dream pillows, and I do that like once or twice a month. All right, the next question comes from my homegirl, Lady Knight of Avalon. And she says, I would like to know if you have any rituals to get rid of fear and or anxiety, like becoming more calm and centered, or what kind of crystals would be good for that, specifically when it comes to a possible career change within the next couple of years. Well, I would love to address that because I am somebody who on occasion suffers from anxiety. It used to happen a lot more till I had a little bit more of a grasp on it, like when I was younger, especially when I was in college. You know, I have had a few like actual panic attacks in my life. You know, a lot of times people like to use anxiety and panic attacks interchangeably, but they are two different things. Anxiety is just like kind of like being on a constant state of alert, whereas a panic attack is a definite narrowing of focus. It's a definite like feeling, and you know, for a lot of people it feels like impending doom, or they feel like they can't get enough air. It's pretty bad when you have an actual panic attack, because you actually feel like there's something going on with your body that is like a medical emergency, and that you need to get help now or sit down, or you know. So as somebody who has struggled with that, I have been on like the lookout, you know, since I had my first panic attack back in, I don't know, it was probably like 23 or 24. So it was like right when I was getting my teaching credential or finishing my teaching credential. This is back in like 2004-ish, somewhere. So I do have crystals that I use to kind of on the daily kind of help keep me a little more calm, you know, especially if I feel I'm going into an anxious situation, one that I know that I'm going to feel anxious about, or I'm already having anxiety thinking about that situation. I have some very specific crystals of that, and I don't just like have my crystals and like throw them in my pocket and be like, okay, I'm good now. But I will like sit with the crystals and I hold them in my hand, and if I feel like the anxiety coming on, I try to feel the energy of the crystal. So I slow my breath down, I slow my thinking down, and the only thing I'm thinking about is this crystal in my hand. How does it feel? How does it feel in my hand? How does the energy feel in my body? Where do I see this energy going in my body? What does that mean for me? And maybe it's just the act of doing that helps to calm me down, but I have specific crystals for that. One of them, like, is hemimorphite, which I did like a whole video on. It's my favorite stone in the whole world. So whenever, you know, for this whole healing journey that I've been on, hemimorphite has been like a game changer for me, which is why I put it on the back of my oracle deck, because because hemimorphite. So hemimorphite is really good. Sometimes I will put all these stones together, or I'll just use them separately. The other one is amazonite. And I would also say sometimes blue argonite, and sometimes when it's in its Sputnik form, which, you know, is more of its crystalline form and it's kind of a brownish color. But I don't know, I would say these ones that I'm showing you right now are the ones that I use most often when I, you know, need to just really calm myself down, you know, so that I could be more level-headed, so I could be a little bit more clear about the situation, and I can go into the situation kind of prepared for what's to come. I don't use all these crystals together. Like I said, I don't put all of them in my pocket. I'll take one of them. So it'll be one of these 5 crystals, basically, that I feel is best for the situation. So I kind of feel it's like hemimorphite, like, is it you that I need this time, or is it amazonite? So yeah, this other one is amazonite. I also use larimar, and I like things in shapes. So although, you know, like raw is good too. And then rose quartz. This is my little rose quartz angel. So yes, hemimorphite, amazonite, larimar, rose quartz. There is 5. selenite. Yeah, so it'll be one of those 5 stones that I will sit and like use that to help myself calm down if I'm going into an anxiety filled situation. Usually like on the first day of school, which, I'm a teacher, so there's always a little bit of anxiety with that. I will take one of those stones with me on the first day of school, or maybe the first week of school, or if I feel like things are getting a little hectic in the classroom, I might bring one of those along. And I also call in Metatron. Metatron mostly because Archangel Metatron is for children. So I just like, as I'm standing outside my door, because I'm the only teacher that stands outside my door and like greets all my students, because I feel like, they should be happy, and greeted, like, hey, we're going to learn today, instead of like, all right, we're going to learn today, kids. Like, so I greet my students when they come in, and as they're coming in, I just like imagine the Archangel Metatron is like on the other side, just like greeting the kids and just like, keep them calm, keep them calm. All right, we're all keeping calm. And that works like all the time. So I haven't had that like not work, where I, visualize Metatron just like keeping all the kids calm, like when I really need it. Not like I just want them calm all the time. It's like when I really need some calm, that works. Plus having one of those crystals, and I usually just kind of fumble it in my pocket. I have a sweater that I always wear at school because it's 68 degrees in my classroom. It's always freezing. No matter what the weather is outside, it's 68 degrees and freezing. So I have it in my little sweater pocket, and I just kind of like, hold it in my hand, and it just kind of keeps me calm and keeps me centered and kind of going on. Another one that I take for anxiety and also for my heart, it helps a little bit. It doesn't totally stop what I have with my heart. I well, probably don't want your heart to stop, but I have tachycardia and I have PVCs, such as premature ventricular contractions, meaning it skips a beat sometimes. And I find motherwort, and this is a tincture of motherwort, to be very helpful for it. It doesn't like cease that activity, but it does help, and I find it more beneficial with anxiety actually. So you might want to check out motherwort. Also, the smell of Palo Santo. I don't necessarily have to light my Palo Santo. And actually, I've never gone through a whole stick of Palo Santo. Like, I have this stick and another stick that I've had for years. I don't know how people just like go through Palo Santo. Like, I have the same sticks for like years. But I just like to like smell the wood of Palo Santo. And for me, that's just, because I'm also into the olfactory, so I like smell, I like touch, so the feeling of a stone, the smell of Palo Santo, or even the smell of jasmine just makes me calm. I feel a lot more calm. So yeah, you might want to try those out. Yeah, you might want to try those out, like I said. And as far as I never really do any spell work for it, but I do a type of meditation sometimes, like let's say I'm having a little bit of anxiety at the gym. Usually that happens at the gym because I'm having tachycardia, and because I'm having tachycardia, that makes my anxiety levels rise, because I'm like, oh my God, why isn't my heart like going back into place? Like, because it'll be at like 210 to 220 beats a minute when I have tachycardia, which mimics the feeling of an anxiety attack or a panic attack, which then sends me into having some anxiety, which then perpetually, it keeps my heart going in that like racing, so it's like, it's this like horrible cycle. So if I feel that coming on at the gym, which happened a few days ago, I will, just kind of, and I don't care if people are watching, I try to take some deep breaths. I will close my eyes, and I try to imagine that the gym is completely empty. There's nobody around me. I imagine what it looks like with no people inside the gym. So you can do this maybe, except for driving, wherever you're at. Just imagine that you are safe. There is nobody distracting you around you. It is completely empty. And then I ground and connect. It's this like thing I do. So when I ground, I don't imagine like the roots going down to the center of the earth. I imagine like my roots kind of going out everywhere, like connecting with every living being, connecting with the universe, like stars, like everything, and that I'm connected. And when I feel like that connection with everything, I feel okay, like I'm safe. I feel really safe. You know, and then I feel like my, I imagine kind of like I'm sitting in the middle of a quartz sphere, you know, so that nothing bad can harm me. I feel completely safe. For me, it's all about feeling safe. Like I'm not having a medical emergency. I'm feeling safe. And then another visualization, because if that one's not quite working as well, because I'm starting to go what's like leaning towards a panic attack. One that I have that I feel works extremely well is I imagine myself next to me. And sometimes I don't know if that's actually my higher self, some sort of extension of myself, but it starts going from just my imagination, kind of taking off an energy of its own. But I do imagine myself next to me, and it's like the most loving part of myself that's like, hey, come on, you know, even calling me my name, like, hey, Tara, come on, we can do this, you know, and just breathe with me, you know. So it's like I have my coach, cheerleader, best friend sitting next to me, but it's myself, and I have found that like works really well. So you might want to check that out. Right, our next question comes from my girl Sherrybug D, and she says, I think I have a lot of tools available, but I'm not sure how to incorporate them into my practice other than the basic ways, such as tarot, oracle, pendulum. And then she has a few other questions. Oh, and then she said she just bought a set of runes and she's looking for interesting ways to use that in her practice as well. And then I'll get to her other questions. But okay, so as far as maybe using tarot, oracle, runes, a pendulum in spell crafting, and things like that, I use them quite a bit. So let's say I have my I have a tarot deck here. So this is the Practical Magic Tarot, and actually I have the Ice Cream Oracle because these happen to be on hand. So hey, these are the ones that I'm going to use for example. If I'm creating a spell, I might take out several tarot cards or oracle cards that have the keywords or have what it is I want to focus on or things that I want to manifest. So let's say I want to work on my intuition. You know, the moon is all about like secrets and, you know, unknown and things like that. And let's say I want to make things known. I might pull the moon card, and I might have that, like, let's say in the middle of like a salt circle, and I might be putting like some herbs on it. I might put a, you know, some glass with a candle on top, because I don't want to put a candle directly on my card, but I might put like a glass bowl with a candle on top, and, you know, this might be, you know, underneath like the spell that I want to create. So this is like the energy of the spell, the visual energy of the spell, and I might do the same with the oracle card. Like this one is variety, opportunity, choices. Let's say I'm trying to get some opportunities for work, you know, so that I can manifest some more money, and I might use this card because it's green, you know, green, I want that for abundance. I might pair this with Fortuna, which is like the Greek / Roman goddess for abundance, and, you know, things like that. So I kind of incorporate it in as like a thing to use as visualization, just like the herbs that I'm using, the color of the candles that I'm using, the gods and goddesses that I am invoking, or saints or angels or whatever they may be, certain energies that I'm trying to invoke. I just kind of use them as like, okay, this is part of it. You know, I want to, I don't know, let's say I might pair this opportunities one with, maybe the 7 of Cups. You know, I want to have some choices, you know, so I might put that there, and that way I can like visually see this is what I'm bringing in, you know, along with all my other tools. So that's basically how I use them. I also use them for tea, like when because I am like the tea master. I am the tea master. But you know, if I'm making a healing tea or a healing anything, or the tea is being made for a specific purpose other than I just need some tea before I go to bed, I will grab a tarot or oracle card and I will put it underneath the teacup. I might actually put a plate and then the teacup on top, because I feel like sometimes the really hot teacup tends to warp our cards. I had that happen once. So I have since used like a plate on top and then the teacup so this doesn't get warped, or I just set it next to the teacup and I want the energy of the card to be infused into the tea, as well as the herbs that I'm using, or the aromatherapy that I'm using with the tea. So I just kind of use it in those ways, and I would do the same for runes actually. You know, like if I'm, let me see, grab a rune here. Oh, this was also kind of like opportunities. You know, wow, that's, what are the cards trying to tell me here? You know, I just kind of put them in there as like, these are all the visual representations of what it is that I'm trying to manifest. So that's basically how I use it in my spell work. And then pendulum. And I have my little pendulum here. This is my charoite pendulum. Actually, I put that little charm on the end. I just love it so much. The only time I use a pendulum for my spell work or I'm working at the altar is actually if I'm working with spirit, or I'm doing some sort of healing and I want to see what the energy of the situation, the body part, the person, or whatever looks like beforehand. Let's say it's like spinning in this direction, and then post spell work, meditation, whatever it is that I'm doing, I ask how it looks now, and usually it's spinning the other direction, and I'm like, all right, cool. Also, if I'm just like, you know, working on my chakras, and then that's like, I want to do like some spell work based on that particular chakra and how we can like set it into balance. When I'm doing energy work, I should say, I would use this. And then I also ask, you know, once a spell is complete, show me the energy level of that spell, the energetic level of the spell. And so sometimes like it's like really spinning like super crazy, I'm like, all right, there's like a lot of energy in the spell. Sometimes I might even use it for like tools, like which tools might be best, which herbs might be best, you know, and I might put my pendulum over like some herbs that I've pulled aside and that I think might be best, you know, and I might use my pendulum for that. But yeah. Okay, it says fave oil recipes. I do have a fave oil recipe. Actually, in here I have like my salves, my sprays, my oils, all those kind of making candles, like all those recipes. My fave at the moment, because all of these are my fave, is my summer oil blend, and it has plumeria, pineapple, and coconut with rose buds jasmine buds inside. So the top note is plumeria, the middle note is pineapple, and the base note is coconut. And it just makes me feel like I'm on the islands, and it's just awesome. So yeah, if you're looking for an oil blend, that's a good one. Favorite herbal incense blends: sage and rose mixed together. I love that blend. And anything lemon, like lemongrass, lemon balm, like lemon. I love lemon. And then it says ancestor or spirit work tips. I often incorporate spirits, guides, gods, goddesses, ascended masters, my relatives, whatever, into my practice, like with everything. So I just make sure that I do a little meditation, and I'm not just like, hey, anybody wants to help out? Like, come on into my sacred circle. You know, I don't want to just let any old thing in. So I'm very intentional about who I wish to work with me. And maybe I'm not doing like a whole spell thing. I just like wish to work with their energy and like what it is that I'm doing like already. Like if I'm at work, like I said, you know, utilizing like Archangel Metatron, you know, I just kind of, I like to use their energies, and I do say thank you. And is there anything, you know, in exchange, like, would you like me to plant a tree, or would you want some like incense in the house, particular incense? something like that. But yeah, I would just say just make sure that you feel out the energy first. Like if you're calling in, like if I'm calling in my Nana and I'm like, you know, meditating and I can't quite get my Nana's energy, I'm like, oh, well, maybe she doesn't really like care to work with this one. That's okay. That's fine. You know, I'll try to work with a different energy. Or if I feel an energy come in, I don't automatically assume it's my Nana. I try to feel the energy in my heart. How does it feel to me? And if it feels like something's a little off, it's probably not my Nana, and I'll be like, peace out. So yeah, I like to use specific energies for whatever it is that I'm doing, healing work, spell work. I'm actually at work. But I'm always, I like to be very clear on like who it is that I'm working with, and I'm not just working with any old schmo or any old schmo in disguise. So I always just like be very, you know who you're working with. And then we have Joanna Marie B, who says, I'm new to all of this, and your channel was the first one that got me into this whole world, and I'm grateful for that since you seem like such a sweet and nice, warm person. Oh, thank you. My question to you are best type of crystals, crystal pendulum to work with for meditation, like chakra, is it clear quartz, etc. Okay, and then I will get to her other questions. So best type of crystal pendulum for meditation work, chakra work. I do have two pendulums off to the side because these are the two that I most work with when it comes to any sort of meditation, or I am doing some sort of, you know, chakra work on myself or someone else, you know, I'm doing some healing work, and that is clear quartz, but I prefer it in an orb shape, since for me, energy at its purest is in a spherical form, because that's like, you know, I don't know how you want to get it, because I'm not like a physics professor or anything, but I do know that the shape that has the least amount of restriction to it is a circle. It takes the least amount of energy to be in like a sphere. So I do feel that a sphere works really well when I'm doing meditation. I feel it's very powerful. And also blue apatite. This is like a crazy like ascension, like woo, when I want to go like so crazy meditations, I feel that this works really well. So this one is like for crazy meditations for me. This one can be for meditations, but also for chakra work and healing work. My favorite animal tarot deck and or oracle deck, that was kind of hard because most of my decks are like animal based, so I just brought out one of each. So my favorite oracle deck that has animals is the Animal Allies deck, and this is by Jessica Swift, and I just really like the energy that comes from these cards. There aren't any keywords other than saying what the animal is, and I like to use this for daily draws, and I use it for animal medicine, you know, and let's say I pull a bat, you know, how can I incorporate bats medicine into my day, you know, so that's kind of how I use it, and I love it for that. The other one, my tarot deck, so animal-based tarot deck that I love is my Mystical Cats Tarot, which I actually keep in this, and I use it for people, but I often use it for when I'm talking to animals that have passed over. So I use it for more like my Rainbow Bridge readings because I feel that it's really good with that. The Tarot of the Pagan Cats is really good as well, but I just love this one like a lot. I just feel like I really get some clear messages from animals that have crossed over to people's pets, you know, their little fur babies and feathery babies and things like that. So those would be my favorites, although, you know, I don't want to, you know, discount my other decks because I feel that they are really good too, but these are just like the first two that I was like, yeah, these ones. And then it says, and any future guided meditations, visualization, grounding, centering, animal spirit guide, etc. in the works. Actually, I'm so glad you asked because this week I already have a video that's planned out for this week that is a guided meditation. So stay tuned for that. And it says, and just thought of another one. What would you say is your favorite meditation deck? Well, I don't really want to toot my own horn, but I will. And that is my Wally's World Oracle. I created it specifically for meditation, although it could be used for many other things like shamanic journeying or healing work, or if you want to use it as just like a regular oracle deck and you want to use it in spreads and things like that. But I love this for meditation because it has no keywords. You can just focus on the image and go there. You can feel the energy of what's going on. And depending on like what you're doing, let's say I am doing some sort of healing work and the card that I pull is of the Great Wall of China. I kind of like put myself into that card and what could be the energy or the healing of that area that would help me in what I am trying to accomplish for myself. So I feel this is a really, really good meditation deck because I was looking for a meditation deck, so I created my own. So yeah, and if you are interested in this, it's currently on my website at www.kittensweetsandtarot.com, and everybody who pre-ordered and backed me on Kickstarter is going to be, I'm going to be shipping their decks out by the end of this week, so woo! And our last question comes from Cat Whiskers, hey! Or Cat's Whiskers, mew. Says, I'd be interested to know if you have any regular daily rituals and what they are. And also, do you typically do spell work mostly for others or for yourself too? Okay, so let's answer the first part. I do have regular daily rituals that I do. So as soon as I wake up in the morning, I have a little spray. Actually, I probably need to make more, but I have a little spray and I do exactly 3 spritzes, you know, on myself. I just feel that just kind of like clears my energy, you know, gets all the sleep off of me and I'm ready for the day. I also have, this is not the selenite rod that I use, but I have 2 raw pieces of selenite. They're humongous, and I do just like a whole like cleanse of the aura, just get myself like nice and ready, and then I get ready for work or ready for my day, depending on like what part of the year it is and what day it is. And then let's see, once I am driving to work, or if I don't have to go to work that day because it's a vacation or it's the weekend, then I do this particular thing here at home. But basically, I thank all my guides, from animal to celestial elementals. I thank angelic beings that guide me on my highest, you know, path, have the highest of intentions for me, gods and goddesses that I work with, ancestors. I thank them all. You know, I kind of go through like a gratitude thing, and then I do my grounding, I do my protection, I do my like connection, you know, that I'm open to signs throughout the day. I talk about like I have like an energy thing that I do, you know, that I'm only accepting things that come with love and light, and everything else is returned to the sender with love and light, you know, so for healing. I do, you know, if I'm working with a particular chakra, I call in that light to that chakra and I kind of fill my whole entire being. And then there's like a little mantra I say to start my day. And again, a little bit more gratitude and thank you for this and this and this in my life. And then when I come home from work, or let's say when I'm getting ready for bed, I make a particular tea with intention, again using like my tarot oracle cards, like to be or crystals to be infused into that tea, and the herbs that I'm using, you know, are intentional. I might say a little something, I might like put my own energy into there, you know, into the tea. I have that tea, and again, before I go to bed, I do like my 2 selenite wands and like cleanse myself of the day. Again, I'll do like 3 little spritzes. I have my little dream pillow. It's under my pillow, and then I go to sleep, and I might do a meditation. Mostly I'll probably do a meditation depending on what I'm meditating for, while I'm sitting in bed, and then I lay down and go to sleep. So yeah. And then the other part of your question was, do I typically do spell work for others or for myself? It's mostly for others. I do spell work for myself because to me spell work well, sometimes there's smell work, we call that aromatherapy. But sometimes I do spell work for myself if I feel I'm needing the extra help. You know, I will like struggle on and carry on and do things myself, but if I feel like I just need a little extra help, then I'll do some spell work for myself. You know, but I always try to do it myself first because I don't just like turn doing a spell right away. Oh, you know, because I feel like, you know, it's just for extra help. But if somebody else is needing some help, I will definitely do spell work for them. All right, you guys, thank you so much to everybody who asked questions for my Witchy Q A. I hope this wasn't too long, but I hope I was able to answer your questions. A lot of these were some really in-depth questions, so I tried to answer them the best I could without creating a super long video. And yeah, thank you guys for hanging out with me, and thank you everybody who submitted questions. And yeah, so if you guys dug this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, don't forget to click subscribe, and don't forget to click that ding 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 notification bell for more videos just like this. And if you want to catch a reading from me, head over to www.kittenswaitsandtarot.com, where you can also order the Wally's World Oracle. Oh! As well as there being a link to my Etsy shop for room and body sprays and crystal bracelets that I make myself, and my salves. And I am coming out with a new salve, which is Goddess of the Rose salve, but that's gonna come out in another month because my herbs are still infusing right now. But I'm super excited about that. And don't forget to join that KWT tribe over at patreon.com/kittenswaitsandtarot. You know, if you wanna send a little love my way, and you know, for as little as $1 a month, and you get access to a lot of really awesome goodies that are only for my Patreon. So definitely go check that out. All right, so that's it for me, spiritual homies. I will catch you later. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Peace out.